The following is the conversation between me and Gavin Kennelly. Gavin is an entrepreneur, author, and gives his views over showing your working online and other topics. This is Ways of Working podcast. Please check out our partners on the description below. Thank you, Gavin, for coming. So, can you talk a little bit about you and what you do nowadays and how is your work today?
Yeah, sure, Lucas. Thanks very much for having me on. So my name is Gavin Kennelly. I run a social media management agency called Borough Ventures Media. Um, we look after the organic growth of so it's business to business. We approach businesses and offer to grow their social media followings organically, and basically just take away the task of having to upload their socials all the time. That we just kind of it's one less job for them. So it's more of a convenience based service, in terms of. But we use our organic growth strategies to then come in and try up their following numbers. It's more gradual because it's not obviously with paid results you can have a lot more outreach, but with what we do it's a lot more of a it's a bit more of a tedious process. But it's I find organic, the followers you get from it are ones that will stick around more often than not because they'll really buy into the brand.
All right, interesting. Yeah, so nowadays I believe like there is a different ways a tech worker can show their work. Either companies as it can show their work in the company or can show their work on social media, and I believe this is it's resonate with companies as well. So based on your experience on your work, so what would be the most effective way for tech workers to show their work and increase their online presence? And do you believe that is a way that you can improve your tech career, or you believe that maybe it's not this way? Maybe it's more like towards your building your own portfolio or other things like that.
Yeah, like I think having a social status, I guess, in terms of like when people are looking up, as soon as you approach them and they're looking up your social profiles to see who you are, I guess the more credible you look, the better it is. So I think it's always worthwhile for your business to put yourself out there and try to grow your personal brand. Obviously there's pros and cons to everything. So by doing that, you have to put yourself out there more. You might have to do things that you're uncomfortable with, like putting yourself on camera or talking or putting up more photos of yourself. But you can also do that alongside showcasing your work. And like when you're talking about something that you're passionate about, I guess it's a bit easier. So it won't even, for some people, it mightn't even feel like work, putting themselves out there like that. But I guess the con thing is like there is an element of privacy then that you lose because you're really putting yourself out there. So it's not for everyone. I understand that, but then like it's just, I think when people are open to doing that, they definitely grow a lot faster. But that's not to say that you can't grow without putting your face onto your brand. And another thing that somebody pointed out to me before as well, that as soon as you put your face onto your brand, it straight away becomes a lot harder to sell, because if you ever wanted to exit that business, your face is tied to it. Like people are probably buying into that business because of you, like your face is on it, they trust you. And by you having put your face in there, that if you want to exit, it might be harder for somebody else to come in and run the business because people came to that business for you. So I guess it's just kind of you have to weigh up the pros and the cons and what you're comfortable with before you go, I guess, putting yourself out there too much in your business.
I think that's interesting. Yeah, because you're gonna be so tight that people, not gonna relate the company to other things, and maybe the company will die. I saw this happen sometimes, and it's very interesting to see. And but then I was reading recently this book called Show Your Work. It's a very small book, and then it was interesting to read and understand that there's ways that you can actually promote your skills and promote your way of thinking over the internet without like creating any backlash or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Well,
I'm
I think like quality will show itself. So if you just say you're a videographer and you're just say the videos that you're doing for other people are, outstandingly good, then people are going to notice that. They don't care who's behind the camera. They'll just see the video that you've created, and they'll say, I want somebody who can do that, and they'll approach you because of it, without you ever having to sit in front of a camera and convince people to buy from you, because your work speaks for itself. So
Sure.
there is, in jobs like that, there is ways around it. But I think maybe for, like, just say a consultant there now, or somebody who literally is the face of the business and is probably going to be for the foreseeable, they probably do have to put themselves out there, kind of like an Ask Paul figure. I don't know if you've seen
Yeah.
that. Like, he's a financial consultant. He had to put his face on the brand, really, for people to buy into. So it just depends on your industry, I guess.
Yeah, I see. Well, yeah. So talking about growing online and growing yourself online. So on your work nowadays, you work on strategy for business to effectively use social media for growth, right? And
Yeah.
what do you think are the main challenges nowadays of companies when they're looking for to either attract customers, right? To get the right message out there for customers, and how they can use as well this growth to attract talents too, because as you grow, you're gonna need more people to work for you or work with you. So
Yeah.
what do you think what do you think as the main challenges for the companies to pass the right message for this both ends of the on social media?
Yeah, I think it can depend, again, depending on what industry you're in, but it can be a lot of it, like a lot of content now is very saturated. There's so much content out there, and a lot of people the biggest thing is people get caught up on watching what others are doing, and like not necessarily copying it, but like putting their own twist on things, which can work in some fields. But I always feel there is an element of just being authentic and transparent, and people buy from people, they trust people. So if you can really show that you're just if you can be yourself in it, and showcase yourself and your business and what your business is about, and really, like, if you show that you're passionate about your business and what you do, people will buy into that, and they'll like sense that from you. Whereas if you're just going out and you're being really, like, I don't know, salesy on your videos and everything, people can see right through that. Like, there's too much of it out there now that people have become aware that they're not going to fall into these tricks forever. So
Yeah.
I think, like,
Mm-hmm.
a big thing now is if you can just be just really authentic and really trustworthy and transparent, that people really respect that, and they'll probably buy from you for it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you think that this spread of channels that you have for social media, maybe one problem, because I feel that's a problem for me. I don't know if it's for everyone that you being a consultant and you work with, but do you feel like you having all these channels like Instagram, LinkedIn, you have TikTok, you have Facebook and Twitter, it would be a challenge would be more like the channel you want to focus on, or maybe
Yeah.
you feel like you're missing out on the other channel, but then maybe
Yeah.
it's not like that.
There is an element, I guess, of FOMO that comes with like not being on. Just say a lot of businesses now just say maybe, like, we'll say older businesses or whatever aren't on TikTok, but they hear about other businesses that are on TikTok and the responses they're getting, and because it's it's a massive platform,
Yeah.
and they're looking to get on it, but they might know how to go about it, and they feel like they're missing out because of it. But then again, you kind of ask the question: is their target audience on TikTok?
Yeah. Yes,
Like, are
true.
you going to go on it, spend all this time on it, creating videos and content for minimal returns? Like,
Yes,
is it
true.
really worth the time that you're going to put into it? So it's, again, figuring that out. It all comes down to, like, where your audience is. So, like, depending on your business, Joe, some people are more suited to LinkedIn, some people are more Instagram. Like, Facebook still plays its part in some businesses.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, like, a lot of people I talk to, it's kind of, they'll know where their best, based on the data you'll get back, you'll know where your best audience is,
Yeah.
because you'll see it in your reports. So that's kind of where you know where to double down on.
Yeah.
But that's not to say you can neglect others, and that because you can still potentially take off in other fields, and it's always good to have that in mind. But just, it's with your target audience in mind, that you're working where your audience is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of the things I very skeptical with is influential marketing, right? Because I remember once I received an email for a marketing company, and they say, "Oh, there is this influencer that work with us, and they are very. This person has how many followers on social media, how many views there." But then this influencer was like on TikTok, but then
Mm.
TikTok, the views doesn't reflect actually that we're gonna get actually engagement on that post and give you back the return of the investment that you're doing.
Yeah.
So how do you
The-
see that? Do you see that influencer marketing is a little bit overpriced, is
yeah.
or is it
People get
like okay, sorry.
people get no, fine, sorry. People get caught up in the views. I think it's all about really the engagement and how, because like you could have just say an influencer who's getting 1 million views, but like maybe only 50,000 engagements. So
Yeah.
that kind of, and like that's still, I guess, a lot. Maybe you could dial it down even more, but it's just it comes down to what percentage of their audience is actually engaged and like watching the video the whole way through. Because you can really tell that if I watch the video the whole way through, it's because like I probably like the person or I'm interested in them or I like what they do, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's just a thing that like you follow them, but you're not that interested in them, and you just see the video for 2 seconds and you swipe on again, that's not really too valuable to a company that's paying that person to promote their brand, because they don't get, people aren't
Yeah.
as engaged with them as a person. So I guess yeah, for it, like influencer marketing is very powerful, because if I already know somebody and I trust them, and then they're telling me this product is good,
Mm-hmm.
like I'm gonna have more of a tie to say, look, they
Mm-hmm.
say it's good, I trust them, I'm probably gonna check it out and see if it's any good. But if it's somebody that I don't have that same trust with, or that I'm just following because I don't know, whatever reason, um, then yeah, it's not as effective to the business that's
Yeah.
paying them to promote their product. So it just comes down to engagement. I think that's a thing that I've learned, that definitely you have to track how much engagement they're getting rather than how much views they get.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I'm still skeptical a little bit nowadays because I feel like there is a lot of influencers they can actually drive you to sale to get more sales, get more people engaged with a platform. But most of the time, what I see is like they bring up these big numbers, but even them to sell their own products, they've been failing. I saw like a lot of examples out there, and that's why
Well,
I'm still like on step back, trying to reach out to them,
yeah,
or make an advertisement with them.
I think the problem there could be kind of like what I touched on earlier, where
Yeah,
they've they've probably gone out to say, oh, brands have seen the views they've been getting on their own personal brand or whatever,
yeah,
and have approached them, and straight away that person has just like maybe seen the money that they were being offered, and just straight away took on whatever product that this brand was promoting.
hmm,
That product mightn't even be good for the end user in terms of like
exactly.
whatever. It might be a good product, might be healthy, mightn't tie in with what their values are, but yet they're pushing this product and they're being really salesy, putting it out there, saying link in the bio, all these kind of things to get people to buy into
Yeah,
it. And straight away, then some people might go off and buy the product and realize the product isn't great, or
mm,
kind of just goes against what the reason they were following that person,
mm.
and then you lose trust.
It's
So
true.
then the
It's
day
true.
that you go out trying to sell your own product from your own personal brand, people say, "Look, John, you're always trying to sell us stuff. It's not John, the stuff we got off you that we went off and bought from brands that you supported before weren't
Hmm.
great." So it's like you have to be very careful, and that's why I think you should kind of stay true to your values and what you only basically tie into brands that like tie in with your values, and
Yeah.
I guess do your research in terms of, is the product good, is the company good that you're getting it
Hmm.
from. So you have to be really just careful nowadays, I guess.
Yeah. True. Yeah. So yeah, let's just change the subject. I think we explored this a lot because I wanted to explore more things with you. And as I mentioned before, you work. I was asking you if you work remotely today, and you say yes. And
Mhm.
if if this rise of remote work, and I see like the companies are trying to call the workers back to office, but you have your own company, so you mainly work with this as a distributed team and as a person that works for a company. So you're part of the how can I say, a team of the company, but you're
Yeah.
just like a contractor for them. So how do you see how do you see the collaboration that you have today nowadays? You feel that increase more like with like remote integrations with your way your sales, or you feel that's actually the industry is coming back to more like, oh, we just do a little bit of calls, we're going to meet him back to the office to like define the strategy? How do you feel like is the word the interactions is going nowadays?
Yeah, I don't like. I'd have a. I don't know. I'd probably have a bias towards remote work now,
All
just
right.
because my own work. But so like, obviously, if you ask somebody who works in an office space, they might have a different view on it. But
Mm-hmm.
I just the way things have gone, I'd struggle to see how things would go back to how the remote work, seeing how
Mm-hmm.
effective it has been, I guess in some fields, how it would ever like go back. I don't think it can. And even like I'm seeing a lot of co-working spaces that are popping up, and like people wouldn't go open in these businesses if they didn't feel there was a market for them. So I think like there is
Mm-hmm.
an element, and I guess in some companies they might have seen that there was actually like maybe their staff are happier, they were more productive working from home, or having that maybe that hybrid working where they're in 2 days at home, other days, because like I guess they're just now of like they don't have to maybe spend as much on diesel in the week or petrol
Mm-hmm.
because they don't have to be traveling out, and they're saving time, and that way that they're probably a bit happier. But yeah, I just think that going forward, I can't see it going away. I think remote working it's with the softwares that are available now, it's too useful. It's almost
Yeah.
it's nearly getting easier to just work
Yeah,
remotely
it's
than
true.
it is to go in, because like you can do everything with all the platforms now with Slack and Zoom,
Mm-hmm.
and like I'm sure there's loads
Yeah,
more,
yeah.
but it's so easy to get across, and like you can do things a lot quicker, because just say in person you could call a meeting and you could be there over and back, and like you could literally end up wasting time just
Mm-hmm.
because when you're in person there is that element of like we'll just keep chatting, but like when you just say have Slack in front of you there, you can just literally type out your message, get your
Yeah.
response, like you're away. Then you don't have to
Yeah,
be
it's
calling
true.
meetings, sitting down for half an hour or an hour.
All right. Yeah, it's true. Okay, so I picked my camera now. There's a problem. Okay, let's just check it out here.
Yeah,
Uh,
no, but
yeah, it got disconnected. Okay,
so I
just
just
no, my camera that
okay.
I'm using here is disconnected. I don't know what happened. Just trying to connect again.
Yeah, not better.
Okay, and just a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm having a problem with my main my main connection here. And
Hmm.
yeah, don't know what happened here. I'm just checking. Just a second. Okay. Look, I think now it's back. Okay.
I'll go
Okay.
again.
Yeah, my camera is back. It's a little bit like crazy right now. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. So yeah, so let's continue then. So we're talking about the remote work, and yeah. So how can I continue here?
Like even one thought I kind of had on it there was I actually like how do I sales now? Whenever like you're selling a
Mm-hmm.
product, and like you might have a sales team or whatever,
Okay.
you'd always hear about people jumping on sales calls, which is basically just like a Zoom call.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what I actually don't just say sales before. Was it a case of like when you were having a sales call, but like you
Yeah,
didn't have Zoom or whatever?
it's
Was it a
true.
case of like inviting the person in to the office
Yeah.
to sit down in front of them and pitch them the sale? Because like I just basically I don't know a time or remember a time because I wasn't in the
Mm.
field or of
Yeah,
the
I
age
think
to even be
yeah,
industry.
yeah, I think usually it would be like that. You just receive a call, just invite them to the office, and then you have to go there and have to do like a pitch of what you wanted to actually put out there, like as a marketing perspective. But yeah,
Yeah,
so
and like you can imagine in that, like just say from that regard,
mm-hmm,
you probably only get through maybe 2-3 sales calls in the day because like the time that it would take.
it's
Whereas
true.
with the remote work now with Zoom and stuff, you could literally bang out just say a couple of sales calls in an hour, like depending on
Yeah.
how long. Just if it was 15-minute intervals, you could have 4 sales calls uh, in your hour, and then who knows, like you'll just how many you'll close then.
Yeah, you think like so with remote work and all this, like everything is basically virtual nowadays. Like everything is like social media or this indexer like Google and Bing. So what do you think it is the impact that this world they have like on entrepreneurship and business development? Do you feel like it makes it easier or makes it crowded and more difficult for like for a company to start to develop their own business and then be like into grow?
I think easier.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that because the softwares are there to
Mm-hmm.
help and they're like
Sure.
designed by very smart people who are literally a lot of them are convenience based. Like they try to make it as simple as possible, and I think
Mm-hmm.
they're the ones that always do well because they're anything that's user friendly. Because a lot of the job for like businesses, like I come from a family business now, and
Mm-hmm.
like my father runs a hardware store, and like for me to get him to adopt any software, it has to be very user friendly because like
Mm-hmm.
basically he comes from a time just say when he was starting out, they didn't have point of sale systems and all that, like all
All right.
the computers and laptops that we'd have. So like even back then, sales was just if you made a sale, he was writing it into a book, just keeping
Mm-hmm.
track of everything.
Yeah.
You can imagine now when the likes of Sage and all these things are coming in, it's
Oh my God.
like
Can
he
imagine.
had to adapt to all of that, which was amazing. But like so there's only just so much change a person can like
Mm.
adapt throughout their lifetime, I'd imagine. So even now, just say if I was to come to him with a new software, like it can't be overly complex because you have to kind of get your head around it
Yeah.
bit by bit. So I think any of the ones that are user friendly and really just I guess convenient to the end user in terms of in their business and can save them time. Like you just really have to showcase the pros that your
Mm.
business will bring to the other person's business in terms of how they'll help them either grow sales or save time. And yeah, I think they do make it easier. That's like that. I
Mm-hmm.
think they wouldn't be making these offers otherwise.
No, yeah, it's true. And
Yeah,
yeah, nice. And yeah, just so everyone know, I met you by the Young Entrepreneurs Island. I think that's the name, right? That's the
yeah,
correct
yeah.
name.
The young Irish
Yes.
entrepreneurs network.
And
So
yeah, that's really nice. I think that's a very nice initiative, and I really like the idea. So
mhm.
can you explain a little bit more for the audience, like what is your or what is this group you're creating? And yeah, so let's start from that.
Yeah. So it was back in September 2021 during COVID where things were fairly isolated.
It's
that
true.
yeah, that I was kind of looking into just say I did business with entrepreneurship in college,
Hmm.
so and like coming from a family business and everything, I always kind of just had that entrepreneurial mindset or spirit in me that I just wanted to be creating things and like was always curious about very much in the online space and the digital space. I was getting pulled in all directions in terms of stuff I was looking up,
Hmm.
whether it be drop shipping or um, social media management and all. I was seeing all these things and I was getting fascinated by them all. So I guess I was kind of starting out my own entrepreneurial journey, but like that, I always say I had 100 questions and I didn't know who to ask and who was the relevant person to ask for answers because I just didn't
Hmm.
have that network. So I did have one friend that was into this kind of space over just say he was about 15 minutes over the road from where I was. So I was getting in touch with him, and then he was telling me that he was having calls with other people around Ireland about similar either topics or
Hmm.
problems that they were having or whatever. So I was like, okay, like I'm coming to you, you're talking to other people, and then like there was people I went to college with that were of that I guess mindset as well in terms of they were out looking to create stuff for themselves. So I just said, look, why not? Why don't we just set up a group where
Sure.
we can kind of set up a network that, just say if I have a problem one day where I'm like, oh, just say I'm struggling to log into Shopify. Has
Hmm.
anyone else having the same issue? It's just that you can have that kind of support group. So went on to WhatsApp, started adding my friend in, started adding people. He added in people he was talking to. I added in people I went to college with that were in the
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurship course. And just say I might have started out with 8 people.
All
And
right.
I'd say it just kind of grew legs from there. And then I was just say we were adding people in time because we were putting in posts ourselves, and we were saying like we actually saw, I guess like we were seeing a bit of value in it because it was the thing where, oh, does anyone know somebody who can help me with email marketing? And straight away
Mm.
somebody might respond and help you out, and you'd be like, okay, that's actually this group is useful. So then I went off and I created an Instagram page
All right.
around it. And yeah, and then you start following people, and people are wondering like, what's this about? And like everything, it's kind of like the compound effect. It just all
Mm-hmm.
little things keep adding up, and our LinkedIn then, and yeah, just were kept adding people in, and then there was enough people in it at a time where I was kind of like, look, we'll run an event and see if we can do it in person because,
Mm-hmm.
to be honest, I prefer in person in everything. As much as I'm an advocate for the digital space, I do like meeting people in person just because there is that human
Yeah.
interaction. Um, but yeah, so we set up an event in Limerick. Um, was it there last year? Basically after COVID, and
Okay. Cool.
yeah, so it was. And the first event was like I was only testing the water, so it was
Mm-hmm.
free to
Mm-hmm.
attend. I just put it out there, set up a venue. It was kind of totally off my own back. Um, I got some brilliant guest speakers on board. We had John Richardson from the Startup Accountant in Dublin. We
Oh,
had
nice.
Darren O'Brien from Invest with Darren. He has a YouTube channel and a TikTok page.
Oh, nice.
And we had Kieran Griffin from AdSuite.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we three on today. Yeah, so we had these guest speakers in telling us their backgrounds, their stories. They're all in the group as well. And like they were just a startup accountant were basically giving us the breakdown on how to look after your accounts
Mm-hmm.
effectively. Kieran Griffin was telling us about he runs a service-based business called AdSuite. So he's it's B2B, but he looks after service-based businesses. So like he
All right.
promotes them, runs their ads from, tries to bring in more clients. And Invest with Darren is very good in terms of um, just like the stock market, and he like touches a bit on crypto and things like that. So it was just like different industries that we could all sit down, listen to them. And then I also leave like just say parts in between for people to network between themselves because I feel like that's where you make good connections and you learn about people within the group. So yeah, that was our first one in Limerick, and that was a good success. And it was only back, was it before the end of last year?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, it was this year. Sorry, it was February or March. We ran an event in Dublin.
All right.
So it was up in Tree Story in Dublin. There was around 40 people there on the day. We had likes of Claude Scanlon, who'd be a content creator. We
Mm-hmm.
had Callum Nolan, who'd be an email marketer, and we had Thomas Arnold, who is a videographer and content creator, I guess, as well.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and like again, they're all in the group, but it was just the numbers that showed up. Like to be honest, I got a lot of imposter syndrome on today. I was kind of like, where like
Oh man,
where
this is
I was
it
like,
happens all the time, you know. Like I've been 14 years now working tech, you know, and until today I still have this problem when I look into some code that I'm posting or I'm sending to be reviewed by my colleagues. I always think like, oh my god, that's not going to be good enough, or
yeah,
it's not covering everything that I need to. And I always have these problems like, oh, what if people look at what I'm doing and then they look and they say, oh my god, this bus is not good enough. And so I have a lot of this
I
imposter
think
syndrome.
to be honest, I'd never even heard the term up until maybe a year or
Really?
two ago. But then I'm starting to hear a lot of it now, and I guess
Yeah.
I was probably feeling it myself without even realizing to an extent. But I think was it Alex Hermosi he has like a saying about imposter syndrome, and it's basically the way to beat imposter syndrome is to just keep um, keep plugging away at results. Like
Mm-hmm.
keep proving yourself wrong, pretty much. In that,
Sure.
like basically, if you build up enough like small wins to really build up your self confidence and self belief that you can show, look, I was able to do this. You'll I guess over time the imposter syndrome will the voice will come down,
Yeah.
because
Ooh.
you'll be able to talk to yourself and say, look, I was able to stand up in front of 40 people and I was fine. Like this event that I'm going, the next event that I'm going on,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to manage as well.
That's nice.
It'll be okay. Um,
Yeah, it's
yeah, so
cool.
I get like even with the group now, it's just like that. We started out as maybe around 8 people back in September 2021, and there's now 204 members in the group today.
All right,
So
that's a lot. That's cool, man.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
great. I always like to talk to people who organize groups as well, because I organize my own too, and
yeah. You
that's
have a tech group, is it?
yeah. They
Yeah,
have
cool.
two. Actually, there's one that I founded and one that I become organized. So the IT development, the biggest one is a friend of mine. They created, so I just help to organize nowadays. And the other one is the one that I created called Higher Brain, is more towards CV building and curriculum and interview training. It's more like towards tech workers, but but one of the things that is said that it's really stand out to me that's really important is the way that like internet is very interesting, because got us connected to a lot of different parts of the country, parts of the world, and can connect with like-minded people. But as
Mm-hmm.
well, it's interesting to be in person and meet other people, because I believe, as I talked to another friend before, we are social beings, so
Yeah.
we need this connection sometimes. And one of the things that you say as well that I think I will bring for the next questions about we're talking here about imposter syndrome.
Mm.
So when someone came over to your group, or you see someone have like a struggle on starting on their journey as an entrepreneur, so what are the first advices that you give to them, and what would be the best like to-do list for a person
Mm.
who's starting on the entrepreneur journey nowadays?
Um, I guess from my side of it, I don't have my own again biases coming through, but it's kind of, I'd say, talk to people. Get basically find somebody who's doing what you're looking to do and talk to them.
All
Like
right.
because when you look at it, you're at step one, they're on step 8. So
Mm-hmm.
like they can tell you what step 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 are going to be like to get to
Sure.
where they are, and like they'll have a better insight, because each industry is different. So like you can give a very generic overview as what to do as an entrepreneur starting out, which will just say like it'll probably be along the lines of, figure out if you're going to be a sole trader or limited, and all those kind of things. But I think in terms of like probably the fastest way to do it is just find somebody who's in the position that you're
Mm-hmm.
looking to get in, and like probably find a few of them, because you mightn't get a response straight away from the person that might be your ideal
Mm-hmm.
candidate. So just in mind, like if I went reaching out to Hyman Gadsey, I'm probably not going to get a response. Whereas if I tone it back and find maybe not at the level he's at, but like somebody who's still
Mm-hmm.
ahead of me, but is within my reach, that if I message them, they respond. It's just find somebody who's basically ahead of you, talk to them, they'll give you advice on the steps needed for you to get to even where they are. And then once you get there, they might be a couple of steps on again, so you can get onto them again, or else you can get onto somebody who's further along. And it's just keep following the path and kind of maybe chasing people who are ahead of you for
Yeah,
advice.
definitely.
Yeah.
Nice, man. Oh, that was awesome. But
Mm.
before we wrap up, I gonna bring like some philosophical questions.
Yeah. Actually,
So
could I say one thing just
yeah,
before?
yeah, definitely say it.
Um, So just, I guess, it was one part that I didn't mention, is I also have a journal. It's a productivity and gratitude journal called
Oh,
Today is
nice.
Greater Today is Greater Than Tomorrow. So I have it here. This is the second edition. It's a bit
Perfect.
tattered now. This is my own one. This is the one I use. But
It's a bad
um,
book.
yeah. So I guess like in simple, it's it's 3 tests for the day. It's 3 things you're grateful for, and it's a tick the box sequence on the bottom of 3 emotions you're feeling that day. So it's a very like quick and efficient, I guess, productivity and gratitude journal. And then on the right hand side, you'll have a note section to document whatever you need to throughout the day, whether it be work or how you're feeling or whatever. And then down the bottom, it is just a daily recap, because some people like to, I guess, look back on their day at the end of the day. Some people don't, but I just said I'd add it in. Some people like to journal at night. Some people like to journal in the morning. It depends.
That's cool.
Yeah, so this is the second edition. The first edition was a bit more basic. I've kind of added a few bits and tried to simplify it, because I guess the idea for me came about when, again, it was during COVID. I was hearing, because again, it was a time of like a lot of isolation. It was like I like meeting with people. I wasn't allowed to meet. I was finding it particularly tough, and I was hearing a lot about journaling online and basically the benefits that you can get from it.
Yeah.
So my sister got me a journal, but I found the one that she got me was just a bit too complicated. So I was getting kind of useful with Canva at the time. So I went on to Canva and just created my own. And
Yeah.
when I finished, I was kind of like, geez, if I'm able to use it, maybe other people will be too. So I just came up with a name, and it was something that my father had said about my grandmother, that she used to always be saying to them, don't put off until tomorrow what you can do today. So I called it Today is Greater Than Tomorrow, the journal. I literally just put a name on basically a Canva document and printed it. I uploaded it to Amazon KDP and basically put it out there for people to buy if they wanted. And I got a good response at the time. So I was kind of like, geez, there's actually something there. And people have got onto me saying that they use it and that they like it and that it's useful. So
yeah, that's nice.
Because I like myself, I find it very easy to use. And even in this one, I've added in just basically tips and tricks at the start, in terms of like maybe planning out your goals for the year. I don't know, you probably heard of it, but it's like basically write out 10 things you want to do this year in the present tense, as if you already haven't done, and then like done that. They reckon you'll achieve most of them by doing that, because it's like the manifestation kind of thing.
I've done that. I've done that at the beginning of the year, but it was more related to what I wanted to achieve in a personal technical level, but not much in the business level. But I should have done that. It would be greater.
No, it is good. And like I did it last year, and I found I didn't do all of them, but I did like maybe 7 out of 10, which is not bad. And I did it this year now, and I do refer back to it because I seen how effective it was last year. So now I refer back to the one I've done this year, and I'm kind of looking on how many have I got done. And it's just like the power of writing something down that you can refer back to. Even I have a whiteboard here in my house, and like every day I walk past it, and like without even fully psychologically realizing, I'm glancing at it, seeing what's on it, and like working towards what's on the board, because it could be just it could be something simple like go get milk, and I'll see it now.
It's great.
But if I didn't write it off on the board,
exactly. Yeah, cool, man. Yeah, that's nice. I have one. I want to get one of these journals. Then send me the link later. But one thing I would say as well is like I don't know if you know Notion is a platform that you can build actually your own template there and you can sell it. So I think that would be a nice idea, because you can build the template of your today great and tomorrow there, and maybe you can like sell the 3rd edition there. Maybe I don't know. It's an idea. maybe you can reach like out more people who wants to do this more like online. Maybe.
Like, I know I've never really been. I like the idea of writing stuff down. I like the physical.
I like that too.
Whereas but then there's some people who journal on their laptops or on their phones, and like to me, I'm trying to disconnect from that. That's the whole point of going to the journal.
All right. Yeah,
but some people just, I don't know, maybe are just better they're more comfortable with that. Because like at the same time, then there's other people who prefer to write out their to-do list on a page, whereas my to-do list is in the notes on my phone. So it's different preferences. But good idea there. Because I've started to use Notion more. It's crazy the amount of templates and everything that can.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a savage platform.
It's very interesting. I have some templates there And it's very nice to see like how people can use it and adapt as well. I didn't
Yeah.
sold it, but I didn't sold any of those. But then that I saw people selling their own way of like doing productivity journals and other stuff. That maybe you can add your 2 cents as well.
Yeah. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so yeah, so now before we wrap up,
Hmm.
so I like to get a quote, and I was reading this about this guy yesterday. So his name is Bertrand Russell, and that is a quote from him that is I have to read here because I don't want to butcher what he said. But work is of two kinds. First, altering the position of matter at or near the Earth's surface relative to the other matter, and the second, telling other people to do so. So it kind of like it's kind of humorous take, like on the nature of work,
Mm.
where like, there's people who delegates and they just like just pinpoint different things, but they also touch like questions about the value of work, right? And
Mm.
as someone like you that help business to grow their online presence through social media and online, how do you see the value of work as on your role? So like, and maybe we can explore this more broadly. What do you
Mm.
think is the value of work in today's society?
Yeah, I guess it's making a difference in uh, making a positive impact or a positive difference either to a business or to the world or basically in anything you do. I think in any place you go into, if you can make it even 1% better or 0.1% better, you're going the
Mm-hmm.
right direction. But
Mm-hmm.
rather than making it, the other side of it is making it worse. So but
Yes.
it's just like going in with the mindset and um, just yeah that you're going in to make a positive impact and you're going
Mm-hmm.
in to make it even 1% better
Yeah.
in any place you go into. So like it doesn't matter. It can be the smallest thing. And like we were on about the compound effect earlier, is basically going into a place and just like doing the smallest steps that can help uh, in a positive way and help drive whether it be a business in the right direction or a team or anything. It doesn't matter what walk of life it is. It's just that you're going in with the mindset, I'm here to make things better, not to make things worse.
Mm.
Uh, and I think in that you'll have a positive impact, whether it be on the business or and in time it could be the world, because who knows what. Just say if you're going into like I don't know, let's say all these environmental companies now that are trying to make a positive impact. If you're going in doing your part, and then that
Mm-hmm.
business wants to basically save the hole in the ozone layer or something like that, that you can say, "Oh, I played my part."
Yeah, sure. Yeah, yeah. It's so interesting to explore these topics because I've been on this quest now to understand the value of work, and that's why I always like be searching for philosophers and see like what their perspective over it, and I wanted
Mm.
to see like what people see as well, and it's been very interesting to see how different is vision from the philosophy part and from perspective of people, and
Yeah.
for me it's been very interesting, and it's been a good quest right now, and I've been on this like personal quest right now to understand that, and
Mm.
it's been fun, it's been interesting to see.
Yeah,
It's
I
cool.
I find there was one saying that kind of stuck with me before, and it was kind of like I think it was Brian Keene's book
Mm,
that he touched on it, but he might have got it from somewhere else. I don't know,
all
was
right.
this his quote? But it was basically that everything is a case of perspective and opinion. Doesn't
Exactly.
matter. Just like, we could look at the exact same thing and we could have a different opinion
mm.
on it or a
Oh,
different
that's
perspective on it.
that's for true.
So
That's for
kind of
sure.
it's a good thing to keep in mind, especially when you're meeting people who are like pretty much won't have the same, who are of just a different opinion,
Mm-hmm.
because it's just their perspective on it. Like you don't, because straight away we can get very defensive and take things to heart,
Yeah,
and like that's how feelings get hurt, I guess. But when you see, it's just like their perspective isn't always right,
it's
or
true.
it might be right or wrong. It's just a perspective, and same with the opinion. It's just their view on it, and that comes on anything in the world that that's been viewed upon. It's just
Yeah.
and perspectives can be influenced as well. That we can be told this is the way to view
mm.
it, but it's
Yeah.
coming along with your critical thinking then, and kind of you can look at it from another point of view and question it.
Yeah.
Whereas like there's obviously some things we've been told not to question, but like you can question anything in life.
It's
So, but
true.
yeah, that's that's
Even
one
though
thing I
you
thought.
don't say it, you can question it. You know, you don't need to say to
Yeah,
anyone.
yeah,
You can question yourself.
you can
So
question it.
there's no way to people to say you can't question. There's some of the things you can question.
Yeah,
Well, you can just not question them, but you can be questioned on your
yeah.
mind.
You can make your own. Like we have that kind of right as individual human beings to kind of basically have our own, make up our own minds, and basically have our
Mm-hmm.
own views and our own perspectives for our own people. Like, so it's just that I guess, yeah, you have that right that you can make up your own mind to take your view on whatever it is that you're
Yeah.
um,
Yes,
in
true.
view of.
Yeah, and yeah, as you mentioned, perspective it carries a lot of you, so it's extremely biased. You know, it's gonna carry what is like what you bring as your luggage of knowledge they have from the world and your vision from the world. So it's gonna be extremely biased, and everyone
Yeah,
who say they are unbiased, they're lying. Everyone
yeah,
has their own bias.
yeah, and it's important to, I think, acknowledge that, and just acknowledge that you do have bias based on, it could be just like, again, compound effects where your belief system, because you've told yourself over and over again that this is the way it is and this is the
Yeah,
way you like things. But that, if somebody questions that, then you can get defensive. But you can just say
it's
that's
true.
their perspective. And it's also acknowledging, look, I might have my own bias towards that because that's the way I've done things time and time again.
True.
So, and it's kind of just saying, look, we might both be right, we might both be wrong. It's kind of
Yeah.
it's maybe been able to step back from it.
Hmm.
But I guess it's not, maybe in the heat of the moment, it doesn't always pan out that way.
Yeah,
So,
it's true.
yeah, and I think I see that a lot in sports, and like
Mm.
I find it funny when I see people just say I support Man United now, and I have a lot of friends who support Liverpool,
Oh,
and like we obviously have
oh yeah,
totally opposite
yes,
perspectives and views on players and everything, but it's hilarious. And to be honest, does like neither are right, neither are wrong. It doesn't really, like, we don't, our
yeah, it's true.
perspective and view on it makes no difference to be honest. And we can sit down for an argument for half an hour about it, and we'll come away and nothing will have changed. So
Yeah, it's completely true, man. I know because I am a football fan as well, but I support my team Brazil, and I
yeah,
completely understand when you go into this topic, it's heated and it's so
yeah,
funny.
yeah.
Hey,
It's fun.
yeah. Hey, man. Well, look, was great to talk to you.